When demand of the yuan increases, so what happened? There is a demand increases here. We have price of yuan. All right. So similarly, when the government, US government wants to decrease the value of its dollar, its home currency, they start buying foreign currency. When they start buying foreign currency, what they are trying to do, they are creating the demand for foreign currency and hence their home currency start decreasing. So we call this direct intervention. So if Fed's desire to strengthen the dollar, it exchanges foreign currencies for dollar. So what they are trying to do, this is the market. So they start, selling the foreign currency. So when the foreign currency is selling, so it means supply increases. Supply increases mean foreign currency go down. When foreign currency go down, your home currency appreciate. All right. So this is called direct intervention. So we have, you see here, so to weaken the pound's value, so this is the market for pounds. To weaken the pound value, the US government exchange pound or sell the pounds. Supply increases, so you see value go down. All right. So by flooding the dollar market value, by flooding the market with dollars in this manner, the Fed puts downward pressure on the dollar as well. So if you want to decrease the value of your home currency, so you buy foreign currency. So this is the dollar. So you buy more dollars. So flooded the market with dollars means you are exchanging your dollars, you are buying more foreign currency, you are buying more pounds. So you create demand for pound. Pound demand increases. When pound demand increases, automatically this means that price of dollar decreases because one currency appreciate, other must appreciate. Right? So we have two types of direct intervention. One is called sterilized and one is called non-sterilized. Here, non-sterilized and sterilized. So in non-sterilized, so this is non-sterilized, where they just have one strategy. So when Fed intervenes in foreign exchange market without adjusting for the change in money supply, it engages in non-sterilized intervention. So if they want to increase the value of pound, which means decreasing their home currency, so they buy more pounds. All right. So they sell their or they supply more dollars and buy more pounds. What happens? Pound value increases, dollar value decreases. So when they flooded the market with dollars, so they cause inflation as well because money supply increases. When money supply increases, people have more money. Price of the products start rising, so inflation start rising. So this is called non-sterilized intervention. So remember, whenever they are intervening the market, when they are direct intervening the market, remember they must have a reserve of that foreign currency as well. All right. What is sterilized inventory intervention? So here we go. We have US and we have UK. We have a dollar here. We have a pound here. So if the US government, you are here as a government official, if you want, if the government wants, let me just see that this is the Federal Reserve Bank. wants to weaken the home currency, which means strengthen the pound. Right? Strengthen the pound. So what will happen? They start buying by pound. When they start buying pound, what will happen? In the US market, supply of dollar increases. Right? Consider that this is US stock or US economy. In the economy, supply of dollar increases. So they managed to increase the value of pound, but the meanwhile in US, they increase the supply of dollar. In order to control this money supply of dollar increase, so they do sterilize intervention. They also call banks, they issue T-bills, form of certificate. When they issue T-bills goes to the banks, and these are just certificates, go to the banks, and dollar back to US Federal Reserve. So on one hand, they are flooding the market with dollars. On the other hand, they are receiving the dollars and issuing some kind of certificate to the banks, T-bills, that keep your dollars with us, we will pay you interest. This is called sterilized intervention, in which money supply remains, stable. All right, here we go. So let's discuss here. In sterilized intervention, a Fed intervenes in foreign exchange market and simultaneously engage in offsetting transaction in the treasury securities market. So if Fed desire to strengthen the foreign currency, which means weaken the dollar, they exchange dollar with foreign currency, and on the same simultaneously they are selling its holdings of treasury securities for dollars. So certificates are kept with the banks and they receive dollars and in their deposits. So the net effect is an increase investors holding of treasury securities and a decrease in the bank foreign currency balances as well. All right, so this causes money supply to remain constant. Now, speculating on direct intervention. So after now what we have discussed that governments can directly intervene in the market. There are two kinds of intervention, sterilized and non-sterilized. The conventional is non-sterilized, and the more advanced form of direct intervention is sterilized. Now, can you speculate? So some traders in foreign exchange market attempt to determine when Federal Reserve intervene is occurring and the extent of intervention in order to capitalize the anticipated results of the intervention efforts. So when they see that government is trying to buy, government is trying to increase the value of pound, it means government is buying pounds. So before announcement, they start gathering pound, and when government start to buy it, they sell to the government at higher price. All right, so they take offsetting positions with respect to government. If government want to buy, they sell to the government. If government wanna sell, so they start selling in advance so that the value go down. When government starts selling, price start decreasing. All right, so they take offsetting positions. So here we go. We have a very graphical, very nice graphical representation of sterilized and non-sterilized intervention. So here we go. Non-sterilized intervention to strengthen the Canadian dollar. When government wants to strengthen the Canadian dollar, it buy the Canadian dollar and supply more dollar. So it convert its dollar to buy Canadian dollar. So they gather the Canadian dollar price rises, but in the market, money supply rises. So they don't counter the money supply effect. We call this non-sterilized. So what is the sterilized? So the same treatment is there. Government is basically buying the Canadian dollar and in exchange with their home currency, which is dollars. So in the market, dollar is, the supply of dollar is high. So in order to buy back its dollars, government issue treasury securities to the banks, and banks keep their dollar with the Reserve Bank or to the central bank. In that case, so that supply that they increase or they threw or they flooded the market with the dollars, now they are flexing back to the other channel inside the economy. So we call this sterilized. Similarly, if the opposite one is if government wants to weaken the Canadian dollar, so what government is trying to do? Government is basically selling the foreign currency, which is Canadian dollar, against dollar. So government from its reserve selling the Canadian dollar and receiving the pound. So in that case, so this is the non-sterilized. Sterilized means now government is buying back against. So government is basically buying back against Canadian dollar. So in the economy, there is money shortage because government gather the dollars and sell the foreign exchange. So in that case, government basically call back its securities and give dollar to the financial institutions. So on the other hand, the central bank receiving the dollar, and on the other hand, it is giving to the economy exact number of dollars. So we call this sterilized intervention. So the net effect of money supply is zero. So here there is negative money supply and here there is positive money supply. All right, there is positive money supply and there is a negative money supply here because dollars are now going back to the central bank. Guys, you understand? Oliver, Tiffany, EGA, Rugie, Tara and Meena, Lancelot?
Yeah, understood.
Good. So now indirect intervention. We already talked about that. So indirect intervention through inflation, income, interest, government control, and expectations. So we already talked about that. So if the government control of interest is that if government increases the interest rate, so it increases the exchange rate as well. So we talked about that if interest rate is higher in that country, that country will receive more foreign cash flows. We talked about in international flow funds, right? So capital flow will be towards that country which have a higher interest. So that country's currency will appreciate. Inflation, which country has high inflation, its currency will go down. All right. Foreign exchange control, if the government has high control over the exchange rate system, it affects the exchange rate system as well. So for example, government increases the interest rate, but on the other hand, government just fix the exchange rate system. It means whether you increase the funding or not, decrease the funding